Hey y'all, this is where it all started. Sometimes I sit and think, is this the place that made me? Or is this the place that I fell? All I know is, I'm still here.
I gotta finish strong. If it don't hurt, it don't work.
Growing up in Beverly, for us, it was a little rough, It was a small town, but it had a big city mentality, so to speak. A lot of single mothers. A lot of us didn't have a father in the home, so really a lot of us raised each other.
I was living with my sister and her two kids, my three children, and at Roger Garden Apartments. Really ghetto apartments, okay? But at least she gave us a place to stay for a while, and I appreciated that. And my cousin notified me that she had a house that she was willing to sell to me because she wanted to move south, and it was in Beverly. I wasn't sure of the area or whatever, but I communicated with her, and I found that I liked it. So I said I wanted stability for my children, because Roger Gardens was like it was a place to stay temporarily, okay? But we had to get our act together because my kids needed to be in school, and we needed to. I needed stability for them. So we decided to move there. I think that was the year that the Sixers won the championship.
Growing up in the 80s, man, we was kids. Me and my brother Lynch, my mother was a single mother. It was three of us, and she held it down. She struggled a little, but then she made sure we was good. You know what I mean? As kids. And my sister was like, she always looked out for us. She always was the one that kept us on our feet.
Lynch was a grown-up child, if you want to put it that way. Okay, he was into his books. He was more of a take charge person. Okay, he told me he was going to be the man of the house. Okay, so I'm like, okay. And sometimes, like when it snowed, they would go out and they would shovel snow, and they would come back with like hundreds of dollars. They shoveled snow from sun up to sundown, and they came back with money. I'm like, where'd you get this money from? But they really shoveled snow, and they made money. Lynch used to cut hair too. Lynch was a barber, and he cut hair. He made money, okay? He knew how to cut hair. Everybody would come to get their hair cut. So I'm like, oh, my house is a barbershop now. But he would go to their homes too.
Let me tell you what I went through. Real quick, pay attention. Because when I was 8 years old, check this out. Mom Dukes used to send me to the store. You send me to the store, right? With a note. I gotta walk in the store with a note. I gotta hand it to the people that own the store. And the note says, can we have $1 worth of cheese, a pound of bologna, and a loaf of bread till Friday? Asking the people to let us hold food till Friday, and my mom worked 2 jobs. Instantly, I became a man. From that point on, guess what I did? I shoveled snow, I raked leaves, I cut hair, I delivered papers. That's right, I had a paper route. I had to wake up at 5:30 in the morning on Sunday when I'm 9 years old so I could bag up papers and rubber bands and get the paper route done. At 9, I'm grinding.
The self is not something that one finds. It's actually something that one creates. And you create the self through your self-concept. self-concept is comprised of 3 things. It's your self-image, it's your self-worth, and your self-esteem. So when I was younger, I had this self-image, and it was all based off of me playing football and the value that I put into, going to practice and doing my schoolwork and trying to be the best version of myself was simply because I had a goal, and it was football. But when I didn't have that goal no more, didn't have football, didn't have basketball, didn't have sports, then the way I saw myself, which was my self-image, was totally different. Now that I didn't have sports, I didn't have school, I didn't see myself as, oh man, yo, you ain't got no money, and everybody else got money. So the self-image, when it was low, it was negative. It was, hey, you need to do something to catch up. And I saw negative stuff, so I started doing it. And I started doing it good, just like I did with everything else. And remember, I always did things right, but I wasn't always doing the right things. Environments, associations, thoughts, feelings, and emotions programs your subconscious mind, man. When you're around stuff like this all the time, it's inevitable that it's going to seep into your subconscious mind, and you never know when it's going to come back out. So here I am. I ain't hustling yet, but all my friends hustling. I'm just standing out there, right? And a man come up to me and he's like, yo, I'm about to run around here with my mans and them. We're gonna jump in the car and we'll be back. I'm like, all right, I ain't going. He's like, but yo, I need you to, can you put this at the crib for me until I get back? So I'm like, all right. I went to the crib, put his stuff in the crib, and boom, I put it up. I came back outside. When I came back outside, it was like 15 fiends standing around, right? Everybody like, yo, you got it, you got it. I'm like, yeah, I got it, I'll be right back. So I went to the crib, I went and got what I put up for my man, came back, boom, got rid of it, boom, got rid of it, boom, got rid of it. And then it was a rush, it was there. It was all of a sudden, it was a feeling I ain't had forever, like $500, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, it didn't take me but a minute or two to make $500. And it woke that spirit in me, like that hustle spirit. Next thing you know, here I am.
We started hustling, then we was going to Camden, I think, getting like bundles. We was calling them G-packs, stuff like that, and we was knocking them shits out. Like we was going to Camden sometimes, like 3 times a day, knocking them shits out. We thought we was on top of the world.
And you can go out there 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and you would see like 30, 40 people hanging on the block, and it would be worth it to go out there because you probably can make. Back then, $4,000 or $5,000 was a lot of money that you could make in that short period of time. And not just me making it, you got 10 other guys on the block and they making it. Back then we wasn't territory, we wasn't fighting over territory. Pretty much everybody respect their space. You had a little spot, they let you have your little spot, we had our little spot, and it was great.
I got my own packs, I move my own packs, and I'm doing whatever I can do to get my packs off. And then, I'm trying to figure out how can I get, more, a bigger profit margin. And I started going from where everybody else was going to Camden. I said, you know what, we need more, so let's go to Trenton. And then I went from going to Trenton and try to figure out how to go to New York. And then I went from going to New York, how to figure out going to like Texas and all this different type of stuff. So each time I tried to, reinvent myself to where I had to make things better.
We started going to Trenton, messing with them cats up there, and I think I know for a fact that's when Lynch got introduced to learn how to stretch the coat. And once he learned how to stretch the coat, that just took it to a whole nother level because we was able to sell the coat for the same price we was getting it for sometimes. Because that's how, he was doing it. And we never seen nothing like that. Like, it was crazy.
And one thing that we needed to make that thing do well was learn how to cook. That was the key ingredients of selling grain. At the time, I didn't know nothing about it. Me, I never cooked up none of my coke from late 80s to 97. I never did. I used to pay a smoker. I give him a little bit of what he did and let him cook up. There was no need for me to do it, you know. And then L was telling me about, nah, man, we got to start selling grams, and this is where it's going. We got to learn how to do this. And he introduced me to a guy from Trenton. Now, he was willing to show me this. And he introduced me to the guy from Trenton. And once I learned how to do that, things was on a whole nother level.
And learning how to cook was just you manufacturing your stuff and stretching it and making extra money. So it was simple. I have a kilo of coke, I can make 250 extra grams off of that, and it'll still be good. So here I am now getting 4 kilos of coke. That means I got an extra kilo of coke after I get done cooking it up. And for my wholesale price, I was gonna make $30,000 extra off of those 4 kilos. And I was gonna sell 4 kilos 2 times a week. So that's gonna be 8 kilos, and I'll be making at least 60 grand on extras.
I ain't never did it for myself. I did it for my sector. I ain't never asked no one for help. I did it for my sector.
Like, they was really doing it. You know what I mean? They was going to Vegas, not even coming home, going straight to Miami from Vegas. You know what I mean? Blowing mad money, thousands and thousands of dollars. He paying for everything. Everybody tripped.
We was a part of this team. We was family. Break bread. I can break down times where, like on Christmas, dude was a diehard Sixers fan. I'm a Knicks fan. He bought me a Knicks jacket. Everybody on the team, whoever team they like, he bought Christmas gift. He broke bread, food. He was never a guy. I mean, we went to Vegas, and he took his whole hood to Vegas. People don't know that. And, you know, he paid for all the flights. You know what I mean? So he always wanted to show you something different, that it could be better. We just was in the streets.
You know, we opened the store up. I mean, it was like the biggest thing in this Burlington County area. Like, it was crazy.
Lynch showed me a different way, you know what I mean? And he showed me how to quick flip the big money to get to where I need to get to.
At that time, like, you know, the store was buzzing. We almost made a little bit over $250,000 in less than 8 weeks.
And I'm like, yo, why you doing that for them and all that? He's like, it's good karma and all that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Because that's the type of person I was at the time, immature and stuff like that. And he was right, though. Like, yo, you got to look out for people when you're doing it, because he always would look out for people. Like, he was like, look, if everybody good, we good.
Diamonds was a nightclub that me and Lynch and Ron wound up getting.
Him and a couple of his boys had a club. It was called Club Diamonds. Oh man, Club Diamonds was off the meter. The shit was dope. I mean, it happened to be in Pennsylvania, and the whole Burlington County was in the building.
Like, as a kid, you would see the nice cars, the Cadillac Escalade, the Lex. And I'm from Willingboro, so I moved to Beverly. And around the time I moved to Beverly, I was already selling weed. I started selling coke. So 90% of the dudes that was in Beverly, it's like drug dealing is like the stock market or the economy. Whereas you can have a product and you don't know where it's coming from. The product might come from China. Lynch is China. He might have distributors that you don't know that is per se is selling drugs for him, but this is the person that you actually selling work for, or your work is coming from.
I'm a big time drug dealer with a nightclub and a brand new car. So that was just more targets on my back.
That makes sense. Good, because it made sense to everybody else, and here come the wolves.
You know, we had it great, but then you know, all good things come to an end. You know what I mean? So that's when the police started coming. The police they raided my mom's crib.
3 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call, and it's some people telling me that they want me to bring some money to my mom and them house. And like, they at my mom and them house with guns to my mom and them. They got tracking devices on my car, wiretaps on all the phones, 24-hour surveillance following us. People breaking in my apartment, they're stealing $50,000. People breaking in my stash houses, stealing $50,000 and $60,000, $70,000 in cocaine and all this different type of stuff. And I'm like, yo, what's going on?
I just went in the crib that night. I came in, I knew something was off. But like, the door was still shut, but it was Jimmy, the go in, apartment was all in order, but where everything was at was in disarray. It was like somebody told them right where to go.
The feds and the DA agents are letting these confidential informants break into these houses because they work for them. Like, the police took it over in Philly. I'm like, what? He's like, but I ain't worried about it. I'm going right to the stash and get my, you know what I mean, go get some more money.
Come meet me right now because I got 100,000 in the car I got to bring to you before the cops get here.
Now I knew they was coming to get me, and I knew it wasn't for no traffic ticket or nothing, because I'm looking in the rearview mirror and I see about 5 Bristol Township police. And I'm like, nah, they ain't coming to pull me over. It's my time. I'm done.
And here I am, this kid who used to play sports, this kid that did good in school, this kid that did all this stuff right here, and I'm at the center of an investigation, United States government versus Lynch Hunt. They say adversity introduces a man to himself, and I didn't figure that out until I was getting sentenced. I was looking at 10 years to life, and I signed a plea to 120 months, but the judge had discretion to sentence me to whatever he wanted to, or she wanted to, between 10 years to life. And as I sat there in front of the judge, in front of my family and all my friends, I wrote this letter, and I read the letter to everyone. And even though I was looking at time, I said today is a gift, and that's why they call it the present. I was looking at 10 years to life, and I said it was a gift. See, if you change the way you look at things, you change the things that you see. And what I saw was, instead of me having time and saying, damn man, I got time, I was saying, man, I got time. I got time to work on me. I got time to recreate me. I got time to reinvent me. I got time to become the me that I need to be to take advantage of my opportunity once I get a shot at redemption.
You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. This call is from
Lynch Hunt,
an inmate at a federal prison.
They say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and I had to make a major adjustment. I had to make it fast. From 1 minute being able to eat the finest things that one could buy to being served food that you could barely recognize through a slot in the door. They do say that human beings are creatures of habit, and you either adapt or die in these type of situations. So, you know, I just basically made the best of the worst situation.
When I came into prison, I was real young, so I had a chip on my shoulders. I always used to like get into it with people. And Lynch would pull me in like, yo, come spin with me. I remember one day we spinning, it was nighttime on the yard. And Raybrook's the mountain, so it was cold. We spin, he like, come on, just spin. You know, I saying that we get almost around the track. He just slide me a piece of paper. I'll never forget what this piece of paper says. The paper said, in order to be a great leader, you have to learn how to listen.
My pop came through in the clutch, man. It was just like, from not being there for such a long period of time, he became my best friend, and he just knew exactly what I needed, you know, at that time. And he sent me a book, the first book that I got. It's a 42-page book, and it was called As a Man Thinketh. This book literally changed my life.
The possibilities are endless, man. You know what I'm saying? But we believe, you know what I mean? We don't just settle for the norm, you know, or follow the herd, you know what I'm saying? You know, our dreams and aspirations is much higher than that, you know. We feel we can achieve anything, so we ain't just, you know, let those conversations lie dormant. You know what I'm saying? We acting on everything.
Just sitting with him and talking to him, it was just different. Like, I'm young, I'm 20 years old coming into a federal situation. I got 132 months. He's finishing 120 months, so a lot of insight was there for me.
I got a job working at the federal prison out of Fort Dix.
I met L at Fort Dix, New Jersey, 16 hours away from my home, which I'm from Kentucky. I ended up working out with some blood cats, and I asked them a question about the bicep femoris, which they did not even know the answer. So soon as I continued to ask them, they said, you know, I bet my man L knows, so I went to ask L. And L knew the answer, and that was the start of our relationship from there.
He was a beast. In my mind, I remember telling one of my coworkers, dude, like the Pied Piper. He got guys walking around doing, they call it in jail a car. He had guys in his car, but he more or less had a bus.
They didn't know what we was doing, but as we started doing, people just started gravitating to us and like, man, what are y'all doing? Like, can we join the team? People just started coming out every day, 5 o'clock in the morning. We ended up having it to where we had like 20 people, and they thought we was a gang. We weren't even a gang. We was just all about fitness and prospering and moving forward.
being able to survive and thrive in unnatural states really takes what you call transcendence. And I knew that I had to become someone totally different to actually survive these times.
People that was murderers, killers, gangsters, and we could pull it off with them, then when we got to the real world, we already knew that we can make this happen. Like, it would be a whole lot easier, because guess what? People are looking for somebody in the league to follow.
Lynch came home in January 17, 2012. Me and his father picked him up from Fort Dix Federal Prison.
Lynch comes home. I go to the halfway, I pick him up from the halfway house. I bring him to my shop. The guy says he's at work. We drive to LA Fitness, made the introduction.
And that's when Al brought Lynch into the LA Fitness. And it was funny because Lynch walked in and we weren't expecting him to do what he did. You know, he had his glasses on, shirt on, and right there, you know, we sat down, we met, and then Lynch did something that was unique to me. I didn't see it before. He did like a burpee and a push-up, and then jumped up on a plank that was about this high, almost as high as his eyes. So I was fascinated right then and there, and I said, yo, let's go.
I didn't like sales, and what really got me one time was that I sold this lady training, and being in sales, I would take the client through a workout. The client would love my workouts, fall in love with me, and then we would place him with a more inexperienced trainer, a younger kid who didn't know much about training. And one time this lady came to me and said, "You showed me a Rolls Royce and sold me a Yugo, and it hurt so bad."
But Lynch wasn't interested in the money. He was more interested in results and actually helping the people, you know, and that was different from what we saw from other trainers who came in or other salespeople who came in. All they thought about was their paycheck. And Lynch actually taught me about making deposits into people's emotional banks. These emotional banks are more valuable than a paycheck.
You know, LA Fitness, it gave me my start. It gave me the first platform to build brand name and face recognition.
We're gonna stand by.
North Carolina, come on and raise up, take your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. South Carolina, come on and raise up. This one's for you, this one's for who? Us, yes, so.
In no way, shape, or form am I glorifying the old life, but everything you go through is something that you actually grow through, and it's always transferable if you can be conscious of the things that you did. You just got to be able to tie it in.
I first met Lynch 2012 at the Rush. We were both trainers. I was on my way out. I was trying to pursue entrepreneurship. I felt like I couldn't go any higher there with, you know, what I was doing.
Here I am now working at the Rush, and you know, who would have thought that the first couple people that I meet and build and bond with would become, you know, my business partners, and I'll be working with them to this point.
I met Lynch back in like 2012 at the Rush Fitness Complex. I was a trainer there, and he just came up to me one day, probably like mid-July, around that time, probably a little bit later on, but he was like, how much you make? He just came up to me and asked me, hey bro, how you doing? How much you make? And I told him, and we kind of hit it off from there.
I first met Coach Lynch on the internet, and I'll never forget it. He was saying, I'm gonna kill somebody today. And I was like, I kinda like this dude. I like this guy. And the next day, I found the location, and I came in, and I'll never forget it. He asked me a question that I ask people all the time. He said, what's going to be different about this time than last time? And I just started smiling, and I said, I must be home.
When in the beginning, I really needed to follow the vision until I understood it. Once I understood it, because I started working out at AWOL, I started becoming a part of his brand and becoming a part of his community. That's the only way that I was ever able to even tap into a piece of the vision that he sees, to be able to cultivate it, and now it's become mine.
You just gotta let the spirit guide you. And it, you know, it led me to, you know, people like Mike and people like Jonathan and people like Ken and people like Taylor. So, you know, we're all working towards a greater goal with building a community.
They've never had a messenger like Coach Lynch. A messenger that can speak their language, and then not only speak their language, say, I've been in the dungeon, I've been in the dirt, but now I've risen, and you can rise too.
Lynch came home in January 17, 2012. Me and his father picked him up from Fort Dix Federal Prison.
When they first got together, it was really hard because I felt like my mom was always Team Lynch, whatever Lynch say went. So it was like, it was kind of hard because I felt like I was losing my mom. But then after I graduated from school, like, it just completely changed because it was like, she just was a completely changed person. I'm talking about from what she ate, what she put inside of her body, to how she disciplined my sister, and even her giving advice to me. Like, it was just different. It wasn't always about my daughter's right and what she said goes. It was more so like, she was more concerned about my spirit.
Seeing my mom with the new man was very different. It was a lot of change. The environment in the house was very different. She was very happy.
We stepped into grace because I asked God for a man who would love me and love my children. And he gave me just that. And even him coming in, you know, me being the mother and the head of the household, we encountered a lot with our daughters because they weren't used to having a man in the house.
And I definitely think that, I know for a fact that Lynch has everything to do with just my mom changing into the woman and the mother that she is. My mom she became a lot more supportive when Lynch came because she was able to have that second parent be there to support her and back her up. So I could definitely say she was more supportive, and she's always been involved, but sometimes she couldn't make it to certain events because, you know, she was just that one only parent. So when Lynch came, he filled in that spot of just being there for us and, you know, just doing things that my mom couldn't do by herself.
Having him here is different. Changed our lives a lot. Like, I'm a different person. I mean, growing, I don't know. I feel like I just know I'm gonna make it just because of Lynch.
And I pray that I ask God to just give us peace. And all things worked out for the good. He's the best thing that's happened to my daughters as well as me. I'm grateful and I'm thankful that I made the decision, and I'm glad that God chose me to be his wife.
Everything that they do, I'm literally a reflection of them. Like, it's weird. Like, I can find myself just talking like Lynch out of nowhere. I'm like, ew, like, what are you saying? Like, this is Lynch. Like, the way I move, the way I talk. If I say something that he says, it's just very weird, but it feels really good because knowing, like, that you're in a house with people that's, like, amazing and just intelligent, and you know that you're on the right path. Like, I think it's crazy because it's like seeing people and knowing people that does good things and things like that is cool, but when you're raised by people like that, it's totally different. It's like, you know that your stepdad a goat, you gonna be a goat.
It's like, wow, he did it. And I had actually called him last week and I'm like, yo, I'm so proud of you. Like, every time I'm like, I know you're my father, but when I'm looking at the pictures, I'm like, this man was in prison for 10 years and, like, look what he's doing. And it's like, his testimony keeps me going. Like, when I feel like, you know, I'm waiting for doors to open, it's just, when he told me when he was in prison, he said he had to be sit down for 10 years whenever, you know, things are not going my way. Like, I don't look at it as a no. I look at it as next opportunities, because that's all he demonstrates. He takes his opportunities by the bullhorn and he go for exactly what he knows he's capable of. So he's super, like, influential on not only my life but my friends' life. He's developed close relationships with my friends that they literally, like, honor the humble man that he is. And everybody is just Team Lynch.
I am what I say I am. You heard what I said? I am what I say I am. You got 2 sets left. When your partner conks out, what are you saying you are? But yeah, that's right, you got, well, I need to know in the joint. I had to say, I gotta finish. I gotta finish strong. If it don't hurt, it don't work. I said, right? I said, there's no limits